Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to install wheel adapters that go from 8x6.5 to 8x180, so you can fit newer style Chevy wheels on your older 3/4 ton pickups. I picked this set up for 500 bucks, use for the winter, and so I could turn, because 12 wides are pretty awesome. So these are the wheel adapters. I believe they're 2 inches thick. On this application, you are going to have to trim your stock studs a little bit, at least on a 2009 body style. People talk about Hubcentric Adapters. These ones really aren't. These were installed on one of my old trucks and I never had issues with them. You just put them on, torque down your other wheels, drive a little bit, and retorque them. I pulled skid steers and all that fun stuff with them, and no cracks or breaks or anything. I'll put a picture up next to show you when I bought them. They're like 150 bucks. And they weren't the cheapest. Reviews were good though. I know they're not the most expensive. So I did get these on Marketplace. They're $275, 70, 18s, which is like a 33. Dude said they had less than like 2,000 miles on them. And I picked them up for 500 bucks. Had to drive a couple hours, but I think it was worth it. Now I'll be able to turn, and we're supposed to have a big old snowstorm tomorrow. And terra grapplers suck. Especially old ones. And 12 wides. And turning. So I am going to probably just use a regular metal cutting wheel. Or you could use a bandsaw with a metal cutting blade, which might work better. But I'm going to use what I got. So a lot of people out there, like I mentioned, we're talking about the Hubcentric Adapters. Basically, on those ones, they'll just have a lip, so when you put the wheel on there, it sets in there and doesn't, wobble around. Honestly, if you just do a star pattern and torque it down a couple times after you drive it and whatnot, I haven't had issues with it. So that being said, if I install this and you install it wrong, your wheel flies off, not my problem. So I am going to start with my front passenger wheel. I highly suggest wiggling your front end down. Make sure you don't have any parts that are loose, especially a hub bearing. I'll show you why in a minute. That's very important. If you have a hub bearing that's bad, you need to replace it before you start cutting your studs. So I do have the adapter slid on here for now. So if you look closely, from like the very top, you'll see that it needs to be shaved down. When you do that, make sure you have the lug nuts on, cut them, then you can spin them off. That way it keeps the thread. Also, when you cut these, you need to make sure they're flush. If not, cut a little bit farther than this groove or this lip right here. That way, when you put your wheel on there, it'll go on perfectly straight. Before you go hacking away at your studs, what they say, safety third. Make sure you have a jack stand, safety glasses, hearing protection. So this is what I mean by putting the lug nuts on first. These are the lug nuts that hold the adapter on. They go in those holes right there. But spin those on, so you could just trim off some of the threading. And once you cut off the threading or whatever, you can just spin it off and it'll re-thread it, if that makes sense. Because if you didn't put these on and cut it off and you cut it all weird, it could burr the end of it up and then you'll never get the lug nuts on. So I'm gonna start cutting. Now to get your lug nuts off, go ahead and just slide that adapter on there. You don't have to trim very much. If you kind of count at their little smooth part of the stud, like 2 or 3 lines or whatever, cut there, and that should be just enough. But like this one, I might have to trim up more. Feels like it's sticking out a little bit. I would get like a screwdriver or something, kind of sit it flush against here. So that one's gonna be good. This one, I am probably gonna have to trim a little bit more. If you run it across there, I could feel it. And if that rim's on there, it's probably gonna mess it up and make it not seat right, so your tire's gonna fall off. So I'll have to trim this one up. Just kind of go through all of them. That one's good. Good. So I trimmed that one. We're good on all of them. There's none poking out. There's none that's totally flush. So now we could just put the lug nuts on, tighten them down in a star pattern to torque spec. I'll leave that on you guys. Torque spec. Anyway, tighten that down. Then put the wheel on and we'll see how she looks. I mean, you basically just follow these steps and all of them and I should do her. Can actually get somewhere in the snow and actually be able to turn. My fenders didn't like those 20 by 12s at all. So we'll go ahead and get that wheel and everything tightened down, put that wheel on, and we'll come back and see how she looks. Okay, then finally go over everything and torque it down to spec. And then we're ready to throw this newer style wheel in here. Alright, I got that on, got everything torqued down. I don't have center caps, it comes with center caps, so I'll have to order those. Finally all finished. Obviously, you see from that short clip, there is absolutely no more rubbing, even with the 1.5 inch adapter. It's kind of nice. Pokes that stock wheel out a little bit and gives you a little bit of stance and whatnot. Here she is, all done. That'd be so nice. Hell yeah. Alright, let's go do a road test now. If I do, I don't know, 60 miles, something like that, and then come back and torque them down.